Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Hiya Toys Aliens Colonial Marines Xenomorph Crusher figure, which is just like a big, burly, dog-shaped xenomorph, I guess. He's got a giant head and big, fat, meaty legs and a big, thumpy tail. I don't know, I never played the game. It is a game, right? Is it a comic too? I think it's both. Maybe it's both. I don't know. But it's kind of a cool figure. The line's been overall pretty successful for Hiya Toys, so I think that's kind of a good thing for all of you Aliens fans. And now you get this big beast of an alien. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, so I'll measure the height, and then we'll also do the length, because that's probably more relevant. He's about, I'm just going to go to the top of the head right here, not the tubers. Well, let's just say 12 centimeters. It's pretty close to that. And that makes it about, let's say, 4.5 inches. I'm very roughly estimating that because this is going to move around a lot anyway, depending on how you pose the head. And then for the length, not counting the tail, so we're going to do it from the butt cheek to the face, you have 5 inches, which makes it about 13 centimeters. And then, of course, you do have the big meaty tail, which makes it a lot longer if you want to consider that. Now, the paint job on this guy is very glossy. He's very wet looking, like most xenomorphs are. He's got this kind of like taupe tannish brown color or tannish gray color for the main body, and then there's lots of wash with like black, and there's a little bit of brown in there, and maybe a little bit of dry brushing as well for a lighter color. Lots of washing going on though, and it looks really nice. And look how glossy and shiny that is. It's exactly as I would expect a xenomorph to look. And hopefully it's not too glossy that you can't see all the striations of color in there, because it actually does look really nice. They achieved a very nice effect with that wash, so that's awesome. And then there's a definite, like, serious black wash for all the recessed parts to give it a nice pop for all the details. As far as the sculpt goes, just like all their figures, it's got a really nice clean sculpt, just as you would expect it. Be careful with these elbow pieces. They are a very, very sharp, I mean, as far as pointy plastic pieces go, they will poke you. It's not like they're going to slice your finger open, but they will poke you. Just same thing for the fingers. Be very careful with that, especially if you have kids playing with it. The mouth does have the retractable inner jaw, so that drops and that comes out. It's a little floppier than I'd like, but that's kind of the trend for xenomorphs. If you push it all the way in, it won't fall out on its own, so that's good. But jaw does work nicely. Very pleased with that. I like that they added this internal piece so that when you close it, I mean, obviously it still closes, but when you open it, it still looks like it's all one piece. So that's very nicely done. Let's see if we can focus on that up close. Come on, come on. There we go. Very nicely done. Okay, as far as, look at all these spots on my hand from, see these red spots? This is from all the spiky bits. Okay, let's look at the accessories. We have a total of 6 different front hand paw things. We have 2 sets that are basically just flat hands for him standing, and then we have 1 set that's kind of like clenched up for gripping or swiping, I guess. And then we have 4 of the great base pieces that you can snap together using the little pegs that it comes with, and you can use that for a display stand. And that's it for accessories, nothing else. As far as the articulation goes, some of the joints on this guy are really, really stiff, so I can't say 100% for sure, but I'm almost positive the head is just a big double ball peg. That's what it seems like. It moves around pretty well. Can't get him to look very far forward though, so it's a little bit awkward since he is on all 4 legs. And it looks down really well, but doesn't look up all that well, just because the top of the head, the carapace hits the spine piece. So there's nothing you can really do about it, but it's worth noting. You can pose it though. I mean, it turns and rotates and leans very nicely, so that's a good thing. Get back in there. For the shoulders, it's a standard swivel hinge. So you can bring it out like this. It's very stiff, but it does work, and you can go even farther out. You can see it has pretty good clearance, so that's fine. And then, of course, it does have the rotation. Gosh, it's very, very stiff. It doesn't feel like it's going to break, but I guess maybe heat it up with a hairdryer first if you can. Although I'm not sure if these are pegged into soft plastic or hard. If they're in hard plastic, it won't make a difference. But it works regardless. And too tight, as long as it's not going to break, is better than too loose. So that's fine. We have a single jointed, another swivel hinge for the elbow. Not the best range in the world, but it's okay. And it does rotate there if you want it to also. And then the wrists are just your standard ball pegs. So mostly just a swivel. Not a whole lot of leaning going on there. No articulation for any of the tubers. And then for the torso, I think it might be a single ball peg. That's what it feels like. It leans side to side a little bit, not a lot. And then forward and back again, not a lot, or at least mine's too tight for me to do it, so I can't really do anything. It does rotate just fine though. For the hips, you do have ball hinges in there. It looks like, yeah, it looks actually like a swivel hinge. But you know Xenomorphs, you can't really move the hips anyway. So you're basically just going to get your rotation out of it and a little bit of adjustability for posing, but that's it. It's a little floppy this way too. The hinge is not that tight. For the knee, it's a double jointed knee, just like your standard double jointed pegged hinge. So that's fine. Then you have another one right here that's a swivel hinge, so you have a little bit of hinging. And then your rotation. The rotation's at kind of an awkward angle though, but it is there. And then you have your standard peg for the back foot. Now the tail is bendy, but it's glossy. And if you look at my hand, you'll see the paint has been coming off. So wherever it's bent, which it comes bent in the package, the paint just flakes away. I've never seen a glossy paint bend this effectively, as this would need to be anyway. Because the tail bends really nicely. It's really, really well done. But you can see the paint is just fracturing and peeling off. It's not good. So that's something that's definitely a problem. That's a big detraction, honestly. The rest of the figure is pretty solid, but that tail, they definitely should have accounted for that, and they did not apparently expect that to happen, and that is a problem. But otherwise, the bendy part's really well done. I like the sculpt. I mean, they didn't sacrifice the sculpt. They didn't sacrifice the plastic. It bends well. Just the paint comes off. So otherwise, the figure's really good, and I recommend it. But because of that, I'm going to have to say that's really up to you. It's not super noticeable, and maybe you could touch it up, but you really shouldn't have to. So that's a huge flaw, and I'm going to say I don't recommend it because of that. But if you're able to look past that, then I think you'll be okay with the rest of the figure. So there you go, guys. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you haven't subscribed, you probably want to click that subscribe button and maybe even the bell so that you actually know when I have content out, because I do have content out every single day, almost always. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you come back for that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.